Well, Jim, glad you could join us on the program this evening, sir. Thank you for your time tonight.
You're more than welcome. Good to be with you.
It's good to talk to you again. Now, ATF came out with in essence, was this a study that was released yesterday? Was this a ruling that was released yesterday?
Well,
What did they put out?
I'd say it was a trial balloon that was released in the disguise of a study yesterday.
Okay.
And it's about 17 pages of complete hoorah about shotguns. And basically they go through and about importation of shotguns and say, bad black shotguns bad, wood shotguns good.
Uh-huh.
And they went through a lot of things that were characteristics that would make it a more military shotgun than a civilian sporting model. And it was an interesting study, Cam, because what they basically did is go in and automatically just decide unilaterally that the USPSA, IPSC, SAS, Cowboy Mounted, and all the people that use, those guns, the shotguns, are really not sportsmen. They're practicing paramilitary something. I don't know what the conclusion was, but they were not sportsmen like bird hunters and people who shot sporting clays.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now we have, if I understand correctly, Jim, and in the sporting purposes language, I think has been problematic for a lot of folks for a lot of years, but
sure.
We're now getting to the point where, you can turn on TV and you can watch Three Gun Nation. You can watch three-gun events. You can watch the practical shooting events. They have viewers. They have the competitors have fans. I mean, how do we really want to try to define whether or not something is a sport?
Well, I don't, because I don't think my right has anything to do with what I'm doing legally.
Yeah.
I mean, I turn something on other than the Olympics when Kim Rhodey is going for her fourth medal this next time, and see if you see any shotgun events. Now you do see the bird hunting shows and all that stuff. But what they're saying is that that sporting application is okay. So I had a picture in my column yesterday.
Yeah.
Of a Benelli shotgun that had one of these new gadgets on the end of it that increased the capacity. And basically what you had done, according to the ATF guideline, is had taken a perfectly acceptable shotgun and turned it into a weapon of war, by adding that extra capacity to it. So they want to limit, to 5 rounds what a shotgun can hold. And they say that's the limit of sporting, since in most states it's 3 rounds for hunting. And so the extended magazines and the speed feeds and all the other things for the sporting shotguns, for the practical shooting shotguns, would not pass muster. And what that would mean was those shotguns could not be imported. Now, the first person or the first company that pops into mind when you hear that is Sega. Used to be the Russian company. Now, why was it the Pan Am shotgun meet this year? 40-some countries represented.
Mm-hmm.
About 22 countries had someone shooting a Sega shotgun. They like them because they have a removable magazine. A bad thing. And they have they're a semi-auto. They don't fire as fast as a Benelli or a Beretta.
Yeah.
But, they're quite good, and they're quite good when they finish with them. They're not particularly good when they start out because they're a third-world gun. They're like a lot of those. They're just stamped metal, but
right.
They run forever, and shotgun competitors use them. Well, if that's the case, they wouldn't be able to bring them into this country.
Jeez.
I know. It's just another stupid thing.
Well, it is. And, I'm seeing here, though, a conflict develop between the language in the Heller and McDonald decisions, which talked about the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense, running up against the sporting purposes language that the ATF likes to use. Clearly, our Supreme Court has said not only do we have a right to own a firearm that we can use for competitive shooting, that we can use for hunting, that we can use to go out plinking, but we have a right to own arms that will help us save our lives.
That's right. And it doesn't say anything about what, it's what I used to call usual and customary in insurance business. When somebody starts talking usual and customary, you're about to get hosed.
Yeah.
You're about not to get covered is basically what's going to happen. That's usual and customary. We don't do that. That's like fire and theft. If you're on fire when you're stolen, you might be covered.
Yeah.
But, that's scary. But even more disturbing, I mentioned kind of in a throwaway paragraph or two yesterday, or this morning rather, was that the White House is apparently getting ready to say, look, 10 rounds is all you need in a gun. And I believe that the administration is hell-bent on going in that direction again.
I read your column today, and we've obviously been seeing the statements from Robert Gibbs and David Plouffe and David Axelrod that President Obama is going to address this issue at some point in the future. I talked with Jim Garrity, who writes for the Campaign Spot at National Review Online yesterday. I said, is there any way that the president could bring this up and not have it be an issue in the 2012 elections? And he said, no, there's no way. So if that happens, then gun control is going to be a very big issue in the next elections, Jim.
Doggone it, they just never seem to learn.
I know.
That may be our whole card, they may be our whole card.
Oh.
It's just, what I'm hearing is 2 weeks, that the clock's ticking on 2 weeks, that they want to move this forward and try to get it out there. And, of course, Lautenberg and what's her name? The lady
Carolyn
from
McCarthy.
New York.
Yeah.
Carolyn McCarthy have already introduced in the House and the Senate.
Yep.
The usual suspects have done the usual things.
Yep.
And, the liberal base is screaming bloody murder at him. He's getting pilloried in the liberal blogs. He's getting hammered by, even the Brady people are getting ink right now.
Yeah.
And they've been really, really quiet for the last 6 months.
I know. You're right. Obviously the president's coming under a lot of pressure from the usual suspects, but what's interesting is that by and large, Jim, it is the usual suspects who are pushing this. It is the VPC. It is the Brady campaign. It is Bloomberg. They're spending a lot of money and they're making a lot of noise, and I think they're getting a lot of help from their friends in the mainstream media advancing this issue or trying to advance this issue. But again, I'm not hearing, Jim. I've not run across any of my neighbors who've come up to me and said, I've been thinking about this, Cam, and I've decided you're a really rotten so-and-so. Or I've changed my mind about gun control. The folks that I know still don't think that there's any real reason to try to pass some sort of additional gun control laws.
None whatsoever, but that has nothing to do with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the will of the people. They're not interested in that at all. They're interested in what they believe is best for all of us stupid people.
Well, that's true. There is that senator in New York who wants to regulate how we walk across the street, and if they're willing to do that, Jim, there's no.
Well, if you walk across the street with a Diet Coke in your hand, they may shoot you down, but it'll be with the 5-round shotgun they'll use on you. What bothers me is they always create the exceptions, and then the exceptions will usually apply to the people that that do with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had thought, maybe from the State of the Union, that he had really decided to try and be a centrist.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Historically, he's always been anti-gun.
Mm-hmm.
We have said this for 2 years, and everybody said, Cam, Jim, you guys are just whistling in the graveyard because President Obama's not done a thing on guns. He's actually done more for us than George Bush, the senior.
Right.
Well, yeah, maybe so. But he's not done yet.
There you go.
And I'm kind of like Dennis Miller. I know the president's still smoking because he told me he's not. I think Miller has that, and he says, you don't pay any attention to anything he says until he gets to that conjunction. But because it's what after the but is what matters. That's where he was headed with all of the rhetoric.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the way I feel about it. He recognized Giffords. He did all the things. I think it was classy not to bring it up. But I think it would have also been, suicide to have done it. It would have been tacky.
I think you're right. I think it would have been. I'm not sure that it is any less tacky if he brings it up a week or two from now, but I'm sure that they'll try to massage the metrics and the message, so to speak. And in the meantime, keep letting us know, Jim, what you're hearing, and we'll keep reporting it as well, sir. I'm glad you could come on the program tonight and sounds like we will have no shortage of opportunities to speak together in the near future.
Doggone it. It sure does, doesn't it?
Jim, rest up. Have a good weekend, sir. We'll talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Jim Shepard from the Shooting, the Outdoor, and the Tactical Wires joining us here tonight on Cam & Company.